Okay, so why is a radio person talking to you about writing web copy? Well, I'm glad I asked that question. Firstly, there are universal underlying truths about writing effective copy that permeate through the various advertising mediums. But given the similar way in which audiences interact with radio and the internet, the correlation between writing for radio and writing for the web is particularly strong. For example, both involve an intimate, one-on-one conversation with a reader or listener in their own personal space. But more importantly, unless it's engaging and relevant, both radio and the web are extremely easy to ignore. Kind of like Matt Damon or a corporate video. I said a corporate video. Okay, got your attention now. Now, these days, it's almost impossible for any business to run without a website. Most of us will surf the net rather than find a phone book when we need something. Many of us now use our phones not to call, but to Google. The net makes it easy and engaging and efficient. Plus, it's everywhere. It's mobile, and it's the way many companies do business and find new customers. But make no mistake, potential customers will judge you by the quality of your website. I'll be honest, would you have faith in a brand that had a shonky, poorly worded website? I don't think so. So choose your words carefully. And here are 10 simple tips that'll help you create compelling and effective web copy that works for your business. Okay, tip number 1. Be personal and customer focused. Now, people that visit your website, they're not reading a newspaper or watching TV. They're users of your website and have come to your website because they're already interested in your product, or at least curious enough to want to find out more. So use appropriate language for your market, and remember, users are not there to read. They're there to interact with your brand. So make sure you use language that prompts your users to do something. A simple example is click here to contact us versus contact details. Active language, which encourages the users to do something now, is crucial. It can be as simple as offering a click-through to find out more, or urging users to subscribe to your newsletter, click to buy, or like your page. Think of web users as customers in your shop. They're already in the market to buy or engage with your business. There might be a few browsers or tire kickers who are killing time, but then again, they could visit any site. But they've chosen to visit yours. So treat them as you would your best customer. Encourage them to make a purchase and to come back. Tip number 2, have a strong reader benefit headline. This tip will change your life. Well, it may not, but it's an example of what I'm talking about. See, headlines are by far the most important part of your website's effectiveness because they ultimately are responsible for encouraging users to click through. So think of your headlines as teasers. A good web copywriter will think about why users are looking at your site. What need does your product meet? Users like to see solutions to problems that they may not know they have. So good websites will communicate how their product will make the user's life better, easier, cheaper, more awesome. Your headline should capture this with short, catchy, and leading headlines that offer a click-through to find out more, and then have that need met. Tip 3, focus your copywriting to accomplish one main goal. So don't bombard users with information. If you walked into a light fitting shop, for example, to buy lampshades, you wouldn't expect the sales assistant to start telling you about the history of fluorescent ceiling lights, which I'm sure is fascinating, but not what I want. Instead, make sure your website is easy to navigate with each content box focused on one thing, so the user can find out what they want and get it quickly. Ensure your copywriting stays targeted, specific, and powerful. Good web copy compels the user to take immediate action. Does your copy do this? Because anyone can write a blurb about a product or service, but good web copy turns a browser into a customer with a click of a mouse. Tip number 4, avoid using confusing terminology, please. Now, speak the way people speak. There's nothing worse than visiting a website and not understanding all the different terminology. So wherever possible, try to use language that will accommodate all visitors to your site. Excessive corporate speak will lose your potential customers instantly. Tip number 5, establish common ground. Now, people relate to each other through shared experiences. So craft your copy in a way that connects with your customers and gives them the impression that you're coming from the same place as they are. You've got to remember that you're engaging in a dialogue between friends, so it shouldn't feel like a lecture. Finding common ground with your customers in this way is a great tool for building trust in your business. Humans are social creatures, and ultimately people will return to your site if they feel like they belong there. Thinking about that shop analogy earlier, you visit a store because you like the service, or the people that work there, the price point, as well as the quality of the product. Now, good web copy actively assures users that they're in the right place. So in a nutshell, the language should reflect what we in the real world would call great customer service. Okay, tip number 6. Use pictures that complement your words. Words are the most important part of your website, but that's not to say that pictures are unnecessary. And to the contrary, pictures make a big difference in how people will connect with what they're reading. Think of pictures as a way to convey a tone to the copy. Because words are flat, pictures add an emotional component that's much needed, and it helps to convey information that words sometimes can't convey. Okay, tip number 7. Read your web copy out loud. Now, I know it sounds mad, and you may need to close the office door for a minute, but it can't be stressed enough. Reading your website copy out loud is a great test to see how personal it is. If it doesn't sound like your natural speech, then it's probably way too stodgy for web writing. Even if your website demands a more professional type of copy, the words should always match the rhythm of natural speech. Okay, tip number 8. Remember that sarcasm is hard to pull off. Now, I know you're really funny. No, I wasn't being sarcastic. I know that you are actually quite funny, but it's hard to read sarcasm or humor into web copy. I don't know if you've ever sent an email and tried to be funny or sarcastic and insulted someone inadvertently. Because at best, people will think that you're, well, actually not funny. So only use humor if it's unmistakable. And you can still be personal without it. Tip number 9, tidy up your speech. Now, I know that in tip number 1, I told you to be personal and colloquial, but there is such a thing as getting carried away. Getting too colloquial or using foul language only hurts your brand. There'll be some users who will, without a doubt, be offended at your use of distasteful words. Tosses. Tip number 10. We got there. Keywords are necessary. Now, if you want the right people to find you, you need to enrich your copy with keywords that'll draw them into your site. Keywords are not difficult. Again, it goes back to being personal. If you were trying to find a business like yours, what words would you use to search online? Perfect. Well, those are the words you should put into your web copy. Okay, the final piece of advice I'll give before I go is something that'll make the previous 10 things I said a hell of a lot easier for you to achieve. Hire the best copywriter you can afford. And that's where the Keep It Local project comes in. The copy on your website has the greatest effect on its success or failure, so it's definitely worth investing in. Thanks.